how are you guys? Welcome back. Thank you for exploring my channel. Before anything else, please subscribe, like, turn on the notifications, all that other jazz stuff that you do here on YouTube. And let's get into the video. Happy New Year, by the way. It is January 1st, 2021 when I'm filming this. I don't know when you're going to see it, but Happy New Year. I've never been so more excited for a new year than this one. 2020 was, okay, that was deep. Anyway, so this video, if you don't know, is my podcast. My podcast is Black Hole Sun, the afterthought of the podcast. So I come here and I talk about stuff I may have missed, or just a refresher, or if you don't want to listen to my podcast and you'd rather see me and enjoy my YouTube videos, that's fine too. So we go and we give you a little rundown of the podcast episode. So this particular episode, we talked about Thundercats, which is a well-known animated series created by Toby Wolf, originally created and animated in the 1980s, late 1980s, early 90s. Actually, just 1980s, mid-1980s to late 1980s. And then later revived and brought back in the 2000s, and recently brought back again. Thundercats Roar, I believe, is the new one. Came back like last year or the year before. So it's a well-known animated series. If you're a Gen Xer or if you're around my age, you know this series. Like, I remember it being such a big deal. So the whole concept of Thundercats is there's these group of humanoid cat people who, by the way, if you didn't know, the idea for Thundercats came from the musical, the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical Cats. They got the idea from that. If you were ever wondering where could they have gotten that idea from, which is a great musical in itself. It was animated in Japan. My understanding, it's the same animation house as Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service. So it's in that same kind of vein. You could tell in a way, if you're watching it, it does have remnants of animation, especially the two that I just mentioned. They kind of fit in there somewhere. It became very popular in the 80s. I remember we all had costumes from, I remember Halloween when I was in second grade, everybody wanted to dress up as Panthro or Lion-O or Chitara. Most of the boys, they were more into Thundercats, so they wanted to dress up as those characters. And Tyra, those are the different characters in the show. So basically, going back, before I go on a tangent, basically the show is about these humanoid cat people living on a planet called Thundera. Their planet's exploding. A few of the chosen, so there's Thunderans, the people who live in Thundera. But then there's a special core people called the Thundercats, who are like elite martial artists, type of nobles, type of like higher echelon kind of people. So they're escaping to find a new home. They get into their little, I guess, there's in every movie there's this like these pods, these breeding pods. I don't know, I can't remember the word. I guess you know what I mean. Like, they put them in these pods, they can sleeping pods, until they get to whatever planet they're going to. So they end up crashing on a planet called Third Earth. Now, I had to do my homework because I was like, why is it called Third Earth? So in this universe, Thundercat universe, they're at a point, so where we're at now, what we're living in the world now, this is first Earth. So the evolution of Earth has gotten so far that it's now Third Earth. So it's the third reincarnation of Earth. You know, it's so many years in the future. So if you ever wondered why they called it Third Earth, that's why. So basically they crash land on Third Earth. The young boy who was the head leader of Thundera, the young boy Lion-O, Magically, okay, so there's a few things that I noticed as an adult that I didn't notice as a kid. I'm gonna throw it out there. So magically he becomes an adult. He's like a full-grown adult. Like from a 12-year-old boy to a full-grown adult. Like, I mean, he's probably like in his early 20s, like all muscular and stuff. And I'm always like, if you're in one of these like hyper sleeping chambers going somewhere, how would you be so buff? Like, I would think that you either come out really skinny or really fat because you're not exercising. I mean, to get a body like, anyway, that ran through my mind as I'm watching it again. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But it's a kid's show. I get it. You're going to be like, it's a kid's show. It's just not supposed to make any sense. But I was like, but that doesn't even make any sense. I know. Anyway, so they crash land on this planet. Lionel is now, and he's the leader. Like, this 12-year-old boy was going to be the leader with these grown-ass adults with plenty of skills who could run. This kid was going to be the leader. I'm sure it's like a monarchy where there's advisors and he's just the name leader, and he, when he grows into it, he becomes the actual physical leader. But I was just like, okay, so it's like a monarchy. So you have a whole group of people. You have Lionel's the head person. Then he has a nursemaid cat whose name is Snarf, which a lot of people find really annoying, but I personally love Snarf. The whining is kind of endearing. I've never had a problem with Snarf. I love Snarf. There is Tigra, who is like this engineer, like gymnast type person. They're all kind of in that gymnast kind of world. Then there's Panthro, who is kind of like the mechanic, not mechanic, but he fixes, and he's an inventor. He makes stuff. He's super strong. Chitara, she is the one female adult character who runs really fast. She has like this sixth sense. And then there's the twins, Wily Kit and Wily Cat, who are really annoying. Which is also another question. If Lion-O, I mean, they explain it like there something happened to his pod, but it's just, I'm like, well, he grew up. Why didn't the twins grow up? Questions you ask yourself as an adult. I did not think of any of that when I was a kid. Like, as an adult, it's like, this doesn't make sense. There's a lot of stuff on the show that's kind of like, So then they get on Third Earth and they're trying to rebuild their lives. And they meet a lot of characters. They have, so on Thundera, they're enemies. I guess you call them enemies. Their enemies were the mutants. So there's these mutanoids animal, which I find a little kind of crazy that they're mutants, but yet the Thundercats are not mutants. Another thing that I thought about as an adult. So there's these mutants, and they're basically mutanoid humanoid animals. Like, there's a frogman, there's a vulture, I believe there's a fox or coyote, I don't know, but they're like these humanoid human things that fight with the Thundercats a lot, and they were their enemies. So they followed them to Third Earth, and they built their home. They're from Plundar, another planet. There's a lot of things, you know. So they build a castle there and in Third Earth, and then they discover a new enemy, Mumra, who is this mummy man who's been living on Third Earth since it was First Earth, possibly even before that. And he is a mummy, a live mummy. Basically, think about this. He's a zombie. He's a smart thinking zombie who is like a spiritual man, like and when he was a real life person, he was like I guess a magician or a sorcerer. A sorcerer is a better word. So he was a sorcerer, and somehow, I think, my understanding is, he sold his soul to ancient spirits of evil, and now he's this walking, talking mummy man who likes to piss off everybody, who's always in the Thundercats stuff. Sorry, if you hear a bell, it's my cat at the front of my door playing with its little, it has like a little like mouse toy thing and it jiggles. It has like jingle bell things, I don't know. And all night he's playing with that. So yeah, so Mum-Ra is there, that's his enemy. So basically, I don't know, it's weird how, so Hulu re-released Thundercats last year. And my understanding when I originally watched it, there were like 5 seasons, 6 seasons. What they did was condense it, so now it's like 3 seasons. Don't know why. I guess to make us adults who were kids feel like, wait a minute. Anyway, so yeah, so the Thundercats are on Third Earth. They're trying to live their life, do their thing. They're trying to be as real building their lives, and they got Mum-Ra and the mutants like really up their butts about stuff. And literally every episode is some sort of problem that they have living on this new planet and meeting new people on the planet and just trying to stay out of trouble. And it all kind of culminates with Lionel using the sword somehow every time. Like it's a problem that always gets resolved with the sword. So my thing is always like, if you think about it, if they would have used the sword from the beginning, these episodes would be a lot less. It's like, it always goes back to the sword. So they have all these skills and stuff, but always somehow the sword gets them out of trouble. Like it's I still like it, I mean, I loved it as a kid, but as you get an adult, you start having that comprehension and understanding things. You're just kind of like, geez, okay, it's still great. It's still nostalgia. Everything goes back to the sword. Like, if you think about it, every problem is resolved somehow with this sword. Think about it. Watch it and think about it. So, I've only watched, in my youth, I've only watched the original 1980s version. So I went in and I started watching the 2001, which is looks more like animation. And it's a different story. Well, it's the same story, but it's different. It's like they're unlike the 80s one where they're escaping Thundera, they're living their life in Third Earth. They're actually still in Thundera, like monarchs. Some of their characters have different roles. It's well animated. Snarf doesn't talk. I was out of there. Like, Snarf is just a pet. I was like, beep, we're done. No. I don't know why I like Snarf so much, but I was just like, nope. No, this doesn't work for me. I didn't watch Thundercats Roar. There was a lot of controversy about that one because they made it very PC, politically correct, and a lot of people were like, what is this crap? I don't know how. I didn't watch it. I wasn't like, I was already over the second version of the show. I was like, I'm not gonna watch the third version of the show. Let's not ruin my childhood. I was kind of like, do I want to watch another version of the show? I'm already, as an adult, questioning the first version, like, what is this? And what is this monarch system? And why is this 12-year-old suddenly an adult and like the boss? Like, what? And he sees ghosts. It's okay. So their leader, before he passed, comes back. Like, basically he's a Force ghost. If you're a Star Wars fan, he's a Force ghost, and he comes and tells, but the only person who can see him is Lionel. So he gives Lionel's like little nuggets of knowledge. Yeah, it's very interesting. So please, if you haven't watched Thundercats, go watch it. If you haven't listened to the podcast, go listen to it. So in the description, I have the podcast episode that pertains to this YouTube video, but also you'll also find the next episode that I'm going to do the next video on. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts on Thundercats. If you were a fan as a kid and you're watching it now as an adult, if you notice things that you didn't notice as a kid. I'd love to hear it. Give me a like. subscribe, turn on the notification button. Yeah, Happy New Year, and hopefully I will be bringing you, I am sorry about the scheduling of these videos. I'm gonna be a little more diligent this year about doing one video a week. Hold me to it. So hopefully you like this video. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Thundercats. So thank you so much and have a good day.